Okay, last week I saw the newest Ice Age film, and let me just say right now, I was not looking forward to this one. On since Disney screwed it up, well, both Disney and Fox screwed it up with the sixth Home Alone movie, and I still think it's the worst live action movie I've ever seen. I was not. When I saw the trailer to this one, I didn't get excited for this new Ice Age film, especially how they really should have ended it, with the fifth one. Well, so oh, and seriously, Disney, this is what you had in mind, and this is what you had to do to freaking on Blue Sky. You had to shut it down in order to make another Ice Age film. Seriously, especially with the really cheap looking animation. Seriously, okay. Now that's the only thing I have to rant here. So let's talk about this new Ice Age movie. And before I talk about it in general, I have to talk about very quickly what I thought about the movies in general. The first one, I actually saw that one in theaters, and we can all agree it's a classic. The first Ice Age movie is such a classic. It is so hilarious. It's so much fun. It has a great story, great characters. There's great comedy, great animation. Even if some parts felt outdated, it's still great animation. John Leguizamo was still my favorite Ice Age character, or in my opinion. Well, as Sid, John Leguizamo as Sid, it's still the best thing ever. One of them, and I just love the first one. The second one, I don't like it as much as people do, but I know that people say it's one of the better sequels. I think that's my personal least favorite Ice Age movie, but it was passable. I did like some of the jokes did work. The animation was good. But I did like Ellie and Crash and Eddie at times. Always, but not a huge fan of the second one, but I thought it was all right. The third one, I saw that one in theaters. And that was the last one I saw in theaters, basically. And I personally think that's the best Ice Age movie in my opinion. I thought it was the best animated, the best story, the funniest of all of them. I just love the third one, especially how Buck Wild, it's like the best thing in the movie as well, along with Sid. Scrat actually has like the least funny jokes in the movie, but at least he actually still got a few good laughs out of me in the movie. But everything else, I just love the third one so much. Ice Age 4, I don't think it was as bad as people made it out to be. It was my second least favorite, but I will say it's better than the second one. On Ice Age 5, you guys are gonna kill me. I actually really like the fifth movie. I don't think Ice Age 5 is the worst of all of them, and I think it was close to being as good in what as 1 and 3. And I really did like how they try to go on an adventure to stop the meteor or asteroid from destroying the planet. But even though I did have a couple problems with that movie, I still enjoyed it for what it was. So now we have okay, well, I say the fifth movie's in the middle, directly in the middle. Well, basically, or probably the third best of all of them. This one was a little tough for me to decide, but I probably say, it's better than 2. Oh, but not quite as good as the fourth one though. Because on one hand, it does seem like it's better than 4, but I don't know. But I say this is my second least favorite Ice Age movie, but I'm not saying that this was actually, bad. Even how the second one wasn't even bad either. Or I actually think that this Ice Age film wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. In fact, this was actually a surprisingly decent movie. Or, a surprisingly good Ice Age movie. And I will admit that it's really not for everyone. I don't necessarily recommend it for everyone, but I'm only saying it if you are a fan of the Ice Age film to just enjoy them in general. I honestly don't. I do recommend for that kind of distinction. So basically, the story in here, it's a typical independent story. Or like a certain character. Or here's the thing, Crash and Eddie want to be able to live on their own and want to have some independence. It's kind of like Ralph Breaks the Internet. Or at that retrospect. So basically, they set out for the Lost World. They go off an adventure with Buck Wild, Well, who the only Simon Pegg is the only voice actor to return for this movie. Like, but so their adventure is to be with Buck Wild. They have to stop the evil villain, called Orson, which is a very small dinosaur with a brain in the back of his head. Which I have to admit, that's pretty damn cool, and that's actually kind of a clever idea. What it's kind of like almost like closer to like an animated Andros. It's from Star Fox, where you defeat his brain, whatever. So oh basically, well, so basically they have to stop Crash and Eddie and Buck, along with another character named Z. They both have to stop Orson for taking over the entire Lost World. Well, and of course, comedy and very limited animation takes place, and that's kind of the problem with the movie. The animation itself, I will admit, it's not bad. I have to admit it's actually good, but it does feel pretty cheap. And feels pretty limited. If it was a theatrical film, I'd definitely be harder on it. And this is why I was ranting about the animation at first. It is so cheap. But I did feel the effort I put into it, though. That what makes it at least legit decent animation. And I dare say, this is the worst of the animated Ice Age films in terms of animation. This feels like the worst. But in terms of a movie, it's not the worst Ice Age movie at all. Well, because there's a few good heartfelt moments in the movie that are legit heartfelt. If you remember the backstory of Ellie in the first film, no, actually in the second film, that she was raised by possums, and they actually extend the story a little bit more, which I think that's a very clever idea. And it's actually very sweet too. I also do like how they actually say goodbye, to Crash and Eddie, for them to stay in the Lost World, and whatnot. And it is very genuinely heartfelt. I also do like how Buck and Z try to settle their differences, then they lost their group and stuff. Then yeah, this is actually not bad at all. The jokes in this movie, do range from kind of flat, but to a few cute chuckles and a few really good laughs. It was funny enough. And the villain of the film is actually pretty cool. Well, standard, but cool. I wasn't even annoyed by him. I did like his of course, I don't mind his diabolical plan, get rid of his stock. But but yeah, I thought he was a cool villain. The other Ice Age characters, like Sid, Diego, Manny, and Ellie. They're not in the movie for that long. When they appear, they're kind of a hit and miss to me. At least in terms of their voice acting, because they didn't get the voice actors to return. Crash and Eddie, I think, are fine. Ellie is definitely fine. Diego's fine. Manny's alright, I guess. But surprisingly enough, the weakest one was actually on Sid, and I hate saying that. And I'm not gonna be mean to the voice actor who did the voice of him. I know he sounded like he was trying, but I just couldn't get into him. And I feel that's a shame, because Sid was always my favorite character in these movies, and he was like the weakest part of the movie. And I hate it when that has to happen. It's just not John Leguizamo, in my opinion. So, Simon Pegg is basically the only person that came out to do the voice of Buck, and he's still great though, and he's still like the funniest part of the movie. Whenever he's on screen, he definitely got a lot of good laughs out of me. Crash and Eddie got a few good chuckles out of me as well. And especially with their stupidity. And I personally don't mind them at all. As characters. Z is a pretty likable character. The villain is cool. And that's pretty much it. I actually didn't mind this movie that much, honestly. And And like I said, I don't think this Ice Age film is for everybody. Oh yeah, and especially how it's basically your typical independent story, or like, or basically the same thing like Wreck-It Ralph 2 did, which I personally prefer that film more than this one. Oh, and P.S. I still think Ralph Takes the Internet is incredibly underrated. Oh, and it's still my second favorite movie with the Lego Movie 2, or with the Lego movies like Lego Movie 2. But for Ice Age 6, I'd place it as number 5. If I did have to rank these movies, I say my least favorite is still Ice Age 2, which is a passable flick. And 5th place would have to be this one, and I say this one is a surprisingly decent flick. 4th place would, of course, be Ice Age 4. 3rd place, Ice Age 5. 2nd place, the first one, and number 1, my favorite would have to definitely be Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs. So, I guess they're going to make more Ice Age films, but I know that people are going to be pissed about that. I wouldn't blame them, and I really think they should have stopped after the 5th movie. But for this one, I don't mind it. So, there's plenty of other movies I have to see this year. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. What did you think of Ice Age 6? Comment below. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I'm the Bostonian Critic. And I will see you in the next video. Oh, take care.